If you're down to talk about it, we can talk about it.
I mean, sure, let's go. I mean, we're live.
Oh, just give it a couple minutes for people to. This is the bonus content.
This is the Patreon for everybody.
Exactly. This is the Patreon. This is that Dave Chappelle
the free Patreon
intro.
The free Patreon that people don't pay for.
Oh, there you go.
You don't have. I guess you don't have access to our Patreon, Cody. Probably because you're irresponsible with your money.
Yeah, that's
two
me.
of us.
I'm the irresponsible with my money. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you know.
I do know. Well, didn't they start messed up start this last night or end early?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they ended early, and then they had like a shotgun start at like 7:30 this morning or something.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, and then I'm not in favor of it. But we were talking about it last weekend.
I was saying we've already heard Paige talk about the weather, and I'm done with it.
He wants to control it. He wants to control the weather.
He's trying to be.
I don't want to control the weather. I'm just saying you can plan accordingly for weather and not be on this East Coast monsoon swing and be somewhere where it's always sunny.
It's
a world championship. Why can't they be in Africa?
Hot take, y'all. Hot take.
All right, let's get started, guys. What is up, everybody? We are here with Jammers in the Rough. We got Lerch as our special guest tonight. Cody is joining us on this rare occasion.
I missed
welcome,
one
Cody,
week.
the absolute worst. Waldron, we got Josh, deep as a canyon. Winter, he'll probably be lost in the middle of it again. And of course, local hero.
Wait, Chandler Fry said he's down to play in Africa. Chandler Fry is on there.
Let's go. See? Dude, Chandler Fry knows what's up.
Dude,
Chandler, we gotta get you on the podcast.
Dude, the Chanimal. Get him in here.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's the World Championship, and we should be somewhere representing the world and not America. Isn't this like the big debate in the NBA right now? Because World Championships, and it's just the NBA.
Oh, that was the guy from the NFL or something from soccer. That was like, yeah, you're the champions of America.
Yeah, exactly. You have people representing the world, but that doesn't mean you're a world champion. Whole debate right now. Let's get into it on disc golf.
Chandler Fry is not happy, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
We should just hold Worlds in Antarctica next year. Whoever can play in the coldest. There you go.
Thomas Gilbert is just going to dominate.
Don't mention a Canadian. Jerry will be on here quick.
Oh, Jerry's going to be on here soon. That's why we got the Obi Saskatchewan. Little callback from last week and how to actually pronounce the name.
I like how Lerch,
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
I got the plaid tuxedo. Like, I dressed up for you guys. Like, you know?
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Well, Lerch, do you want to give yourself a brief introduction for those that might not know who you are?
First of all, hi, I'm Lerch. I am the East Coast captain for TSA Ambassadors. I'm 6'9", like long walks on the beaches. Wait, that's a different show.
Oh, I want to hear. I want to hear all about that.
I'm based out of Maine. I've been playing for the last 15 years, and for the last 2 years, I've been captain of TSA Ambassadors. I'm a founding member of the Ambassadors, and I think right now we're 35 strong. And just came off a super hot streak at Maine State, shooting about 50 points above my average.
Let's go.
I've been yet to shoot the numbers and crunch everything, but I believe I'm the highest person above my average that weekend. And I cost a lot of people some money on that one because I definitely ruined some parlays.
Oh, absolutely.
How many people are betting on disc golf?
You'd be surprised, dude. We have a lot of degenerate gamblers up in Maine. They will flip a coin for $50, I swear to God. Shout out Ray and Paul Vale.
There it is. I told you mentioned Canada to show up.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah, they heard they had the old Saskatchewan, and it was just right here. The green bandit from the Great White North, Jerry.
Who likes throwing green disc? I don't get that. Like, she's always asking for green disc. That's the color I don't want.
But all I have is white up there.
Does she live in a desert? Like, how does that work?
It's just green pops out in white background. It's
true.
I don't think it's that snowy there, is it?
I mean, a lot of the times it is in the winter time when
green
she flies
farther. That's
witchcraft. That's witchcraft.
I don't know.
But
I'm somebody that throws like colors of like dirt in my bag, like especially now with some of these like So I only like the pop top constructs from the Maria Leva run. They're super pop top, but they only come in like the like goldish brownish or like some of the green and
easy to find colors.
Yeah, super easy to find. I lose one like once a month.
I think it's a marketing scheme from TSA. Just they're gonna have trash colors so you can lose them easy. I'm kidding, Aaron. Please don't kill me.
I mean, it makes sense though, because you get to like Innova with the cheap C-line plastic and S-line plastic, Discmania with their cheap plastic. Like,
Roaming Thunder 2. Roaming Thunder 2 was all dirt colored.
Yeah,
it was. I didn't remember any bright Roaming Thunder 2.
I have a blue one in the bag.
But is any of you guys around for the Trilogy Challenge in 2013, like the Thief, the Shield year?
Mm-hmm. I have some, and they are all dark.
They're all like olive green or like
black,
dirt colored tan, and they're just like, "Whoop! See you later." Okay, it's under a bush. Just throwing 2 discs the rest of this Trilogy Challenge. Awesome, guys.
No, I had a buddy with the new Jawbreakers like Z plastic from Discraft, and it's like see-through, clear, but it has like those yellow and red swirls. So when you get it into tall grass, all it looks like is grass. Like clear discs, I think, are just as bad as like dark and neutral colored grasses or discs because you freaking lose them in the middle of the fairway. It's wild. So my thought though, TSA can't afford to make cheap plastic. So they make discs that you can lose easy in order to keep buying. That's how you keep it fresh.
All right, let's get the tinfoil hats on, boys. We're going to do some conspiracy theories now.
That's all I sit around and just, why are these plastics different? Because like even the Alien with Innova, you had like the old S line with their first release and the new S line with their second release. And I was like, these are garbage.
Have you thrown those Aliens yet?
Oh, I like them.
They're weird. They are super weird. I thought it was off, but no, the Alien is just, it's like a really stable like Sonic.
Yeah. Was yours really stable? Mine was not.
So overstable. But did you get the new one?
I got a prototype.
So the prototype with the star, the Proto Star?
I got the Proto Star.
So those are the cheap Innova plastic. That's what I'm talking about. But the one before that comes with like the old one, and it's nice, overstable, good flight to it. That's like my whole point. Is like one run is really good already, and one is already shit. And so it's wild to see. But the new Innova mid that made my bag is the Rolo. The
Rolo?
Yep.
Aren't those candies that like old people like?
Whoa, not just old
caramel chocolate-based candies.
That's a hot take, Lerch. Not around.
But yeah, it's a mid-range roller disc. It's like 5, 6, 3, or 4, 1, or whatever, and they're a mid-range roller.
We're just naming numbers at this point.
Yeah,
just dug deep for that name.
I don't take numbers seriously. So I'm just like, yeah, it's a 7, 8, 9, and a 1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC. Yeah, it's one of those.
I mean, that's probably
isn't it just a super? It's a super slow Roadrunner or Sidewinder, right?
No, it's a mid-range.
It hurt my brain too to hear him say it, Cody.
Okay, just making sure, Josh, that we're on the same page. No, it's a mid-range. Oh, thanks, man.
It's a mid-range.
But why didn't you talk about Maine State? That sounded like a big tournament, and a lot of great things came out of it.
A lot of great things came out of it. I mean, how hot of a take do you want? I mean, do we want to talk about the elephant in the room, or do we want to just talk about Lerch E and just how that went?
Well,
hot takes.
Hottest.
Elephant in the room, is that Eric Oakley?
All right, so Eric Oakley's blow-up round. As a sponsored TSA person, I'm not going to shit talk him at all. I'm not going to downfall or say anything negative about him because obviously we've all had bad rounds. We've all had days where we get to the 12th, 15th hole and we just say, you know what, screw this. I don't want to be here anymore. I was that way this year at the Bro. I get it. And I think if you are as far as we are deep in this game, everybody's had those rounds where we just don't want to be there anymore. We're already thinking about what we want to eat for dinner, what kind of, PJ pants we're going to put on after the round. And he did. He had a very bad round. And as a sponsored person, it really hurts me to see him just kind of be in that negative space and to just be that hard on himself. But as a traveling pro, as someone who has to compete every weekend, I get that competitive edge and competitive, you have to keep going, you have to keep pushing yourself. Because if you don't, you're eating ramen that week versus eating steak and lobster if you cash. You know what I mean? So for him to have a bad round, shit happens. Okay, we can all admit that one. As a traveling professional, yes, he should have conducted himself a little bit better. I was sitting on 18. He took a bogey. Something was said to him, and he blew us off and was kind of just like, yeah, 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 yeah. I had a bogey, and like everybody sitting there was kind of like, whoa, like someone's not having a good round, and it sucks. I get it, and he could end up, excuse me, he could have conducted himself a lot better. But at the same time, we all had bad rounds, and sometimes someone says something to you in a bad round, and you just fly something off the cuff, or I just want to get the fuck out of here, guys. Sorry, try not to swear.
Oh,
but
we allow swearing on this podcast.
But you know what I mean? Like those rounds where you just want to get the hell out of there. You want to get in your car, go home, cry, shoot Jameson, eat McDonald's in the tub, or just fat shame and just get the hell out of there. And I get it. It sucks. And I'm not gonna lie. The main disc golf scene, we are brutal. We are so brutal. I felt bad for him. Like we jumped all over him to the point where Tina jumped on and was trying to defend him, and people were jumping on Tina, and like the whole thread got deleted and stuff. And it was just a bunch of like high school drama that was not friggin' needed. And everybody has their bad days, and Oakley seems to be doing better. He's not absolutely dead last at Worlds, and I hope he recovers. And like he said, he's expected to be back next year, and he hopes people will, just put it in the past behind him.
Well, I think the big thing that I know we've talked about it before on this podcast, but always the idea of like mental health, right? Like we had Chandler in here a little bit early. I'm not sure if he's still here, but when he would do his mental health Mondays and checking in, like bringing about that awareness for those mental health, and the way that he owned it, it wasn't for me, like it wasn't that superficial, like, oh, I'm just trying to save face apology. He actually dove deep into like a lot of like what has been plaguing him and what's going on and some of those struggles. And, obviously some of it's to placate some of the fans because that's a very real aspect of it. But there's also the other side of it, which is kind of owning, taking accountability for some of those struggles because we've been there before. It's how do you move forward? How do you collect yourself? How do you take the next step when you're out on that road? Because I've traveled, I've been touring and not disc golf, but other sports. And sometimes that 12-hour drive, you're looking forward to something so much, you get there and you struggle, and then you're just like you said, all of the demons come in, all of your year, all of your rebound, all of your hype, all that stuff starts to weigh in, and then so then you start to let those kind of demons win. And adversely, I've been to the point where you're on that tournament and you're heading to that tournament and you can't get it out of your head and you're like wanting to cry while you're driving to a tournament that you should be having a blast at. And those are struggles with mental health, and calling, like, I think those into questions, I think is like really important here. So Chandler, if you're still listening, I would love you to get back to your mental health Mondays, because those definitely helped me out on some of these, but they help a lot of the touring professionals and touring up and coming people as well, because those conversations are so important. But it is also like, so Dallas Garber is one of our 15-year-old. I've known him since he was 11, and he asked me this week, he's like, Paige, how did you talk to me? Because I played one of his first tournaments together. He was an 11-year-old. He was crying on the course, just being miserable. And he was like, how did you talk to me a year later? And I laughed at him. I was like, how do you not know me yet? Like, I am so much more forgiving of somebody like struggling mental health wise and choosing to rebound and choosing to get better and positive than I am for somebody that's not. You've continued to impress me with some of those mental health improvements. Does he lapse? Of course. He's 15 years old, emotionally dysregulated and learning how to regulate his emotions. But it's that same thing with some of our some of our pros, right? Like, they are going to lapse. It's how they respond that is going to make me a fan or not, right? Like a LeCastro, how he responded wasn't healthy or appropriate at all, and so I'm not going to be a fan. But how Oakley responded is something that is worth applauding, at least to me.
Yeah. No, definitely. I definitely agree with that, for sure.
And for anybody who has struggled with mental health and read the whole thing from front to back of Oakley, in this day and age, a lot of people who are in the spotlight and who are sponsored, and they lapse, they fuck up or whatever. The next day it's I'm sorry, and it's like the South Park, like I'm sorry we did this. I'm sorry I was an asshole. But when you read Oakley's apology, it was sincere. It was I fucked up. I did bad. I should have not barked at fans. I should have not kicked my bag and swore in the woods. And he was really apologetic. Like he really felt like he was sorry. And I don't know if it was his sponsors saying like you fucked up real bad, and like if you don't do damage control here, like you might cost yourself a sponsorship next year, buddy. But that apology was one of the better ones I've seen in a while. It actually felt heartfelt and sincere, and like I'm better than that, and I know I'm better than that, and I want to prove to you next year that I am better than that. So just give me one more chance, main community. Because he actually said, like, in his apologies, I apologize to the main community and everybody who ran that tournament. I am better than that, and I know that. And he had a bad day. That's all it was. Everybody has bad days. If you come home from work, if you haven't come home from work or a bad round or whatever.
We lost Josh. You're fine. We're still alive. Yeah.
We're used to it.
If you haven't come back off a hard round or a bad day where your boss just unloads on you, and you haven't gone in the car and cried or beat the steering wheel or just blasted loud music and screamed, you're not human. Like everybody has bad days. Not everybody is in the sunlight. And one of my favorite sayings is you can't enjoy sunlight without the rain every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. No, that's where, like, since we're talking quotes, there's always that Ted Lasso quote that pops up to me where it's like, what does he say? I pulled it up. So it's like, I don't know about you, coach, but I hope that either all of us or none of us are judged by the actions of our weakest moments, but rather by the strength that we show. That's one of my favorite quotes. Ted Lasso is
such a great show. I love that show. It just teaches people to be a better human.
Yeah.
I forget the quote about don't be judgmental, be curious. The scene where he's playing darts and he just schools that guy playing darts because he never
that's
asked.
A good scene.
Yeah.
That's a good scene.
That's a great scene. And like it falls back on Oakley, like the people who quickly to judge him and say, you shouldn't have kicked your bag, you shouldn't have broke your umbrella, you shouldn't have flipped out and been mean to fans and stuff, are the people who aren't on the road 37 out of 52 weeks a year. The people who are like, all right, I have $37 in my bank account and I need to cash X amount of money to get to the next event. Or I need grocery money this week. Or, I got halfway to a tournament at Tire Blue and all of a sudden I need to make an extra $150. So I got to sell this and I have to put on a happy face and, and do these things that these people have to do who are on the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think that's the real side of it. And not everybody struggles with that. And I think we live in a day and age where we abandon a lot of the pros in the situation for the next person, because there's always somebody waiting, without giving proper due and letting that kind of sit, fester, and then prove that we're human. Because social media is so quick to move on, so quick to forget, like Oakley happened and then Reddit happened instantly. Without any context at the full story, then everybody, whether it's true or not, had their like perceived notions of this individual and is already recycling that before this person even gets, probably before they got done with the round and can get to their car to collect themselves, to recharge. All of this is already happening in real time, and expecting people to respond accordingly in that situation is never easy, especially in this day and age where everybody's watching. And I think Main States, as a sponsor like TSA Pro, like you want to show up there, you want to be successful. Your biggest fandom is going to be at this tournament in a big way, wanting to support you. When you have that pressure and you don't deliver, that weighs on you, that hits you, right? Especially if it's out of your control, right? Like, oh, the difference of an inch, I clipped this fucking tree again. Why did I hit this fucking root? Like Smuggler's Notch, right? Like it's all about the roots right now, where it's like, that was a perfect shot, I got rooted. It's hard to deal with the expectations of wanting to deliver and then getting rooted.
Yeah. And also it's a home course for us, and it's a TSA sponsored event, and I believe this was the biggest added cash of an A tier that was not on the Pro Tour or a Silver Series tour.
Mm-hmm.
Our series had 30 grand added cash, which let's go Maine, you know? And I'm really proud of that. And a lot of touring pros see that as an opportunity to cash. And they come up here, and then there's not a lot of pros who are on the PGA site or a lot of people who travel. So they think they're going to come up here and just mop up and get a bunch of cash. And then, then they have a round like that where they have to DNF on Sunday. And, shit happens. And I get it.
Sorry, guys. Before we get to that, I just realized when we show comments, it blocks Cody. So I'm like, I'm here for
Chandler just popped in.
Yeah, Chandler probably wanted to highlight that.
Thank you, Chandler, for tuning in.
Yeah, it's tough out there, and I think that's directly from a touring pro. It's not easy. And I did want to highlight that because anyone who thinks it's easy, anyone who's working towards this grind, and if you're capable, you're in for a rude awakening if you think it's over once you make it onto that tour. That's where it really starts. That's where the mental health starts. And no matter how much you try to prepare for it, you can't know the reality of it until you're on it, right? Like, I mean, that's a tough side of it. There's a great community that's a part of it, but it's a traveling circus.
There's also that 20-week grind where just you get into it, and where just week 15, all you want to do is go home and see your girl, see your dog, sleep in your own bed, not sleep in a Buc-ee's or a Walmart parking lot, or eat out of a Chef Boyardee out of a can on the road because that's all you can afford.
Or not eat. Like, that's a very real side of it too.
Or even not eat, yeah. Like even sleeping in a hotel is a luxury to these guys or girls. Not to be judgmental, but people on the road, if you're cashy, you can stay in a hotel. You can, Lerch being Lerch, shit indoors, and not, have to go into a gas station to use the bathroom, and get a hot shower versus sleeping in a campground because you have $75 for the week versus $1,000 where you can stay in a hotel, get rested up, have that breakfast in the morning, have a hot meal versus heating up a can of soup and crackers, and that's your lunch basically for the day.
Well, I think it's also like one of those, like, especially when you're out there, it's one of those universally accepted truths that everybody experiences, but nobody collectively wants to talk about. And that whole mental health battle of it. So it's like, oh, we all could be like, hey, I'm struggling. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to be there for you and help you out. Just don't talk about it. Just don't make it awkward. Don't make it uncomfortable. But I'm here for you. And it's like, oh, come on now. Like, that's not, well, we're all struggling with it. And it's magnified on there. And like I said, and we don't need to spend too much time on beating this dead horse. Because obviously mental health is important. We continue to say that, and we'll always continue to say that on this podcast.
And Project Semicolon and Project You Are Not Alone for anybody out there.
Yeah, what's the Eric or whatever, the one that's on tour with them?
Yeah, Eric. I believe Matt Bell is a big sponsor of them. Unfortunately, off the top of my head, I cannot say what it's about. I think it's
a boot.
Sorry. Trying to keep up with you Canadians. Anybody who has Google open that can pull up Project Eric. It's very good. It has to do with mental health. I can't tell you what it is off the top of my head, and I don't want to BS it, and I don't want to undersell it at all. But I believe when Matt Bell hit his $25,000 ace, I believe he took a large chunk of that money and donated it back to that project, which awesome, Matt. You're a great guy, and couldn't thank you more about that one.
And there's also now text messaging service for 988. There's 3 letters. You text 988. They're a suicide intervention text messaging service that's accessible 24 hours a day. So if you guys are struggling, please reach out. And obviously, I'm on my Facebook, and I'm accessible as well. I do have my background in that, and we do with Thought Space Athletics this year. We did a suicide prevention conference, and we're following that up later this September with another one. So doing different ways to highlight that. But yeah, so like I said, I don't want to do that. It was a little bit of the elephant in the room that we didn't necessarily want to avoid because we never avoid the hard conversations here. But let's go back to a positive, which is Maine states Lerch blew up in a big way, ruining everybody's rating. Your 1060 rated round was 1040 because of this guy. So Lerch,
Yeah. As a 930 rated person, I shot 980 average on the weekend. And I ruined people's day. They were not seeing this. I came out of nowhere like a left hook, and I could not explain the amount of outpour and attaboys and let's go Lerchy that I got that weekend. People were honestly established. My girlfriend was very much blown away that, holy shit, where have you been for the last 5 years? Just shooting basically par on the day for the first course. On the Patriot, it's a par 61. I get out there and it's just raining, pouring shit mess. Damn near hurricane. And I had a caddy show up about half an hour before. He gives me a call. And he's like, hey, thanks for getting me that 20-year buzz last week. Do you want a caddy? And I'm like, normally I don't like caddies, but in these conditions, I can't say no. So he shows up with an umbrella. He is great. He is, very positive. He doesn't understand a lot of the upper tier of disc golf, but he's been playing for 10 years, so he knows a lot about the game. And I ended up shooting par. And I did not win the card, but I did shoot enough for a 986 round. So flash forward to Saturday, home course. It's the big course. It's the bitter side. I get there about 4 hours early, like yesterday, and I'm just trying to repeat the same shit that I did before. Just hang out, don't stress. You're gonna go out. All you got to do is shoot for par. You'll be fine. I get there, and spoiler alert: my radiator took a shit about 2 weeks ago, so I'm borrowing my mother's car, who I'm not used to. I get out of the car, I turn around, and I go, shit, I need my bag. Click, click. And I look in, and the keys are inside, and the car is locked.
Oh no.
So I'm 4 hours from out my round. I've just locked my keys in the car. So here is me, like, just taking a piece of string and trying to get through the door and, like, tie a loop to get, like, pull the handle up. I'm not getting it. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll call AAA, which I guess is CAA in Canada. Right? So they come out there, and I'm waiting an hour, and everybody's like, oh, holler, da-da-da. And I'm like, the worst part is my beer's in there. So, like, I'm getting thirsty. So AAA comes, and the guy is super nice, like Ted Lasso nice. Just, oh, hey, lock your keys in the car, huh, buddy? And I'm like, yeah, they're right there. And I'm like, here's my ID, so you can get in. And he's like, oh, let's try the old way. And he breaks out a Slim Jim and just goes, all right, you're all set. And I'm like, can I buy you a soda in the clubhouse? And, no, all right, whatever. So I get my bag, and I show up to the second round, who is two locals, and Zoe Andike's boyfriend, Dustin Keegan, who is nationally sponsored, nationally touring. He is part of Team Infinite and Team New Play. Shout out, Dustin. You're the man. So we get out there, and I start my round 3 for 3. 3 birdies, first 3 holes. And one of my very good buddies, Jeff Hinckley, just looks at me and is like, where the fuck has this been the last 5 years, buddy? And I just lose it. And at that point, I'm like, all right, I'm 3 down. Just aim for par. Aim for par. That's all you got to do. And I ended up shooting 3 down on the day. I get to hole 18, and I'm like, circle's edge. And I'm like, all I got to do is lay this up, take my 4, whatever, and I got the card. And I get there, and all my friends are sitting like 40 feet away watching me putt. And I'm just like, walk up, and I'm like, I'm going to lay this up. I'm going to lay this up. I get there, and I'm like, nope, fuck this. Boom, birdie. So I take like 3 down, win the card, which is the first time I've ever done an MPO, which was like, let's go. And as soon as that putt went in, one of my friends who has a famous tagline at one of our local courses was like, fucking dickhead! And I lost it. I was laughing. I was crying. I couldn't believe it because everybody the first time was like, oh, 980 round. That's luck. And then I did it again for the second time. So it wasn't luck. It was skill. It was Lerchy's on a purpose. So day 2 goes by, and I'm like, all right, first day was luck. Second day was skill. Can I do it a third time and complete the trifecta? So I get 12 holes in. I am the bottom of the card. There's a neg 5, neg 3, neg 2, and I'm neg 1. No, neg 5, neg 4, neg 3, and I'm neg 2. And I think to myself, I don't have to beat these guys. All I have to do is stay par, and I got this. That's what the average that I'm looking for. So I chunk one right towards the end, and I'm one down going into the last hole. It's this kind of bears right, bears left, about 400 feet, pretty much straight. Break out my mana, saw one off to the right. Shit, all right, whatever. Just throw me back in the fairway. I get about 200 feet out in the fairway for 2, looking at a 3-shot. And I go up and down, get the 4. Get a par here, you're neg 1, you walk out clean, neg 1, you beat Friday's score. So I was like, all right, one more time the mana. So I go mana, third time, throw up the mana. And I saw it right hard. I'm already thinking, all right, here we go. I'm going to saw one off super hard in the woods. It's going to be like a 6. I'm going to be 2 up. I'm going to blow this lead. I'm going to blow at all the route or all the ratings and everything. And all of a sudden, it hits the iron leaf. And I hear, yeah! And I look up right under the disc. And then all my friends, like there's like a good 6 of them, are sitting right there. And it hits the iron leaf and goes, boop, about 5 feet from the pin for the 4. And my friends fucking explode all over this card. Probably ruin like PDJ standards of like being nice and all etiquette and all that. And they're like, yeah, Lerch, let's fucking go! So I ended up beating my hot round on the Patriot day 3 by 1 for neg 1 and finishing exactly perfect for a 980 round all weekend long. Blowing out my average by 50. People were just ecstatic for me. Like, I couldn't believe it. And the best part about that weekend was I was driving home. Like, it just rained. We're all pouring. We're all drinking in the parking lot. And I come home and I'm just like, I did it. And I come over this hill and the rain stopped. And there's this rainbow. And I just lost a friend And I saw this rainbow and I thought to myself, that's Matty Brazier saying, nice job, buddy. And I fucking lost it on the drive home. I started crying like a little 8-year-old girl. Just, and yeah, that's how I finished main states. Just crying like a baby. Just so happy.
No, that's refreshing. The fact that you're even having like some of that happening during a round, that fun lifting up, because I think that carries a lot when your friends are seeing you. I feel like I'm always like the one, like probably the obnoxious one on the course, where I'm just like, I'll see a buddy hit like a 20-footer. I'm like, nice putt, as you're walking to the next fairway. And, you know, you always catch me dancing out there, but it's just like, this is, at least it's like the Oregon scene, where like, man, we need to get more excited. We had states last weekend as well. And like Scott Withers goes to tap in like for his putt. There's like 20 people watching, but nobody like cheers. Nobody's clapping. Nobody's like, hey, great win. And it's just like, what's going on? Like, this shouldn't be like, you know, we have, yeah, like I know he wins everything, but there should be some excitement for your fellow competitors when they're doing great things on the course. It doesn't matter if they're winning the tournament or if they just hit a big putt, because that energy carries out. And it sounds like that energy was definitely there at Maine State for you, which that's huge. That's, I mean.
Oh, yeah. Like day 2 on states, when you finish on 18 on the bitter side, about 40 feet to the left, there's a little concrete thing that we're all sitting on. And it didn't matter who you were. We all were cheering at the last putt, you know, hey, good job. And a couple of the times, like, people would putt out. And I'd be like, hey, good job, guy. Because I didn't know their name.
No, I love that.
Yeah, and we were all cheering and stuff. So
we do have some love for you. So CH Sports, who's our presenting sponsor for Jammers in the Rough,
thanks, CH Sports.
I play disc golf for stories like that, man. Happy for you, Lerch. I've had one of those moments in a while. Colin was actually there at Maine States, so I'm sure he was bearing witness to a lot of that excitement and fun. I do have a question, though, because it's kind of that same line that Colin said where he hasn't had that moment for a while. You said it's been like 5 years, and people are like, "Where is this coming from? Where is this coming from?" Like, what? I guess where did that come from? For one, but two, how did you keep the mental battle for 5 years to compete, to move from MA1 to MPO, to still not quit on yourself, which I feel like it's so easy to do when it gets struggling, to eventually have this breakthrough, right? Because that's me. I'm too stubborn to quit, and I always just say like, breakthrough's going to come when I least expect it, but the moment I quit, it won't come for me. So I got to give it time and its due diligence. But for you, 5 years, MA1 to MPO, it seems like you were doing everything right to continue to move forward in big ways.
Yeah, this past weekend was weird because I've been struggling with sciatica really bad. I have nerve pain on the right side of my back all the way through my butt to my knee. And I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to compete. And a buddy of mine told me, shout out feature card, Brian Kilmer. He always says you always play better when you're hurt. And I took that to heart of, even this pain's really bad and I've been having nerve pain to the point where I'm gritting my teeth to stick through and see it till the end. So my goal this weekend, at least on the first round, was just shoot par. It's garbage out. All you got to do is shoot par. And I did that. And lately, I guess this past year, I've been taking a lot better care of myself. I'm turning 40 soon. I just got recently diagnosed with sleep apnea, so I have a sleeping machine, which, super sexy. All the girls love that when you just go to bed.
I love it.
And I'm taking better care of myself. I'm trying to eat better. I'm trying to be healthier. And part of that is also mental. I told a lot of people day 2 that I have all the tools in the toolbox, but the problem is the mental game. The mental game isn't there for 18 holes. And if you want to shoot good 18-hole golf, you need to have a good mental game, which is, just aim for par. If you have the birdie and you're confident, go for it. If you don't have that birdie, lay it up. Nothing wrong with par. Hold on, I just got this in the mail, so I want to show it off. Birdies are great, but par is just fine.
Where'd you get that from?
I just got that in the mail from my summer Secret Santa, actually.
Yeah, Oasis.
Yeah.
Shout out Thought Space Oasis. No more than that is needed.
Thank you for that. And I just told myself, if you can't get the birdie, just go for par. And if you can't get the par, go for bogey. Just don't take that extra stroke when you have to. If it's a corner shot, and if you can't get around there for 2, go to the corner, aim for 3. That's all it was. It was just a simple thing of not overcomplicating things, not trying to have anxiety about, I got to make this putt. I got to make this throw. I got to do this. I got to get up and down. I got to do this. It's just playing your game and knowing what is your strengths and what are your weaknesses and just relying on what you have. And like I said earlier, I have a lot of the tools in the bag. I'm just learning to flick this year. And I have a lot of the throws I need to do, but it's the mental state of knowing that you can throw those. And if they don't go that great, fuck it. Shit happens. You hit a tree. So what? You had one bad hole. Are you going to let one bad hole ruin the next 17 or 15 or whatever? No. You're going to let dogs lie as they are. It's one bad hole, and you're not going to let it affect the rest of the round.
No, I like that. I like it a lot, and that's something that's helped me out a lot too. Quit thinking of things as unfairly and just start approaching things as only I can view them, right? And give credit to some of that.
Speaking of famous quotes, allow me to control the things I can and let them go by the things I can't, or something.
Some shit like that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I want to say it's like a God religious quote, but I don't want to get all
religious. I was like, oh, you're going religious on us.
Well, that's from Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah, which is based in religion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's
cheers,
yeah, that's there. I'll say
there was a question that came in for you real quick.
Sure,
it came in twice. I just
probably from the same person.
Well, I mean, it's the same person, but
where does Lerch E PoO come from?
What was that?
Where does Lerch E PoO come from?
Yeah, since your first name is Phil.
Okay, so my first name is Sal. Well, first of all, I guess I should explain where Lerch comes from. My first sport and my first love was hockey. When I was about 12 or 14, I went to hockey camps, and we used to stay in college dorms during the summer because place to stay and there's no college kids. So I get there and like I had the poop, like bad, like when you get the poop sweats, like oh, I don't know if I'm gonna make this. So I get into the dorm before my dorm partner, and like I lock the door and I like take a massive poop, and I hear bang 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 bang. Hey dude, let me in. I'm your dorm partner. Bang 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 bang. So I'm like, oh, like trying to hurry up and wipe and everything. I run out and real smart ass, I whip open the door. I'm like, you rang? And he's like, oh shit, man, you're tall. I'm gonna call you Lerch. So that's where Lerch came from. Lerch E PoO is a two-part story. One of my good OG girlfriends, Alicia Villeneuve, who now lives in Florida, she originally gave me that name. But when the nickname really sank was my friend's 4-year-old daughter. He had a heated garage. So in the wintertime, I'd go over there and do oil changes. And his daughter would help us in the garage, like daddy-daughter time or whatever. And she would always be like, I'll be like, hey, honey, I need an eighth wrench. So she would take the wrench and give it to her dad. Her dad would give me the ninth wrench and go, here you go, Lerch E PoO. So shout out to the little 4-year-old girl who gave me that nickname.
Oh, see, I thought it was gonna be like still on the whole like you open the door to your dorm and it was like, oh hey, Lerch, I'm gonna call you Lerch, and he walked in, E PoO.
Yeah, no, that's a good one, dude. I might have to steal that if I ever get famous in Hollywood, like Bert Kreischer.
There we go. Just rip it off your shirt.
Yeah. Which, by the way, dude, I've been calling him out every time he comes to Maine. And I told him I'd buy the beers. I'll get Thought Space down there. I'll get a film crews, dude. Like, I'll do all the legwork. All you got to do is show up and take your shirt off. And I'll tell you what, dude, I will challenge him, dude, on biggest beer belly, bro.
You're too smooth for it. You're smooth like a Ken doll.
Speaking of Ken doll.
Hey!
I got a little bit of blonde left.
He's Ken enough. So let's talk Worlds for the last like 10 minutes.
All right.
Because I think it was a fuck situation. We talked about this last week, but what had happened was there was obviously a weather delay. I don't even know how long the delay was. I just remember like, why am I watching last year's Worlds? And that kind of happened.
So you heard about Vermont and the flooding, right?
No, I did not. See, this is why we need East Coast loving over here.
There we go. So Vermont is basically, I don't want to put them in one subject, but a lot of Vermont is very much hills and skiing communities, right? So you have towns built like this. So all the rain comes down and floods the bottom of the basin. So a lot of the towns, this East Coast, the weather has been absolutely weird. We've been getting microbursts of like 5 inches in 2 hours and just shit tons. I mean, shit tons of rain, right? So Vermont got washed out. I don't know how much water they got, but like roads washed out bad, like concrete 6 feet long washed out.
Mm-hmm.
So all of Vermont has been dealing with this, and obviously Worlds is up there. And I met the crew at Bro, and we had a microburst up there, and I was literally on day 3 helping them shovel chips into their cart so they could run it up to make a pass for parking. Like, it was that bad. And then they got hit super, super bad. Like, Burlington was so bad. It was a story and a half of water. And there's a picture out there. If we were on Joe Rogan, I'd be like, Jamie, bring up this picture. But people were using kayaks and canoes like Italy to like navigate streets to like go to the stores and check on neighbors and shit. Like, water was that bad. Like, buildings were flooded out and stuff. So the amount that ground crew has put up with this year and what I saw from Brewster was yesterday, absolutely amazing. Like, they put straw down on top of grass, so like if you landed in the you wouldn't get like mud all over your disc. It would be like a little straw on top to like help stop it.
Yeah. Okay, so it's just absolute flooding over there, which led to a delay at Worlds, which then, once the delay was over, led for like maybe 3 or 4 holes after the delay of like just increasingly darkness, to where they finally called it, because I think Ricky pretty much is the one that called it. He was complaining on live, turned it to him, stopped it. They put the little flags in their discs like they've done before. They come back in the morning first thing and finish the round, to which, pros struggle in the morning. I've seen more missed putts from pros on coverage than I have, I think, all year, because of it. But
I don't know about you, dude, but I'm not a great putter at fucking 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever when they teed off.
No, I mean, even like your putters are different at 6 o'clock in the morning, right? If it's 60 degrees out there, your putters are stiffer. They're not flying the same as they would, say, at 80 degrees at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, you have humidity and temperature difference and stuff.
All of those things are very real. And Paul McBeth had a different putter. He had his old rubber blend Lunas, which even that, switching your putter in the middle of a tournament is going to call it. But I think on the back end, right, like the delay happened. They either should have stopped it there so they could be fresh in the morning. Because like pushing it, like you have the wooded, so you already have the canopy that's blocking out more sun than probably is there. And then you have to hit these lines. These are tight lines that you're trying to carve up there that you can't even see half the trees. And the moment it started getting darker, you just see a lot of the, like Ricky and Paul and Barsby hitting trees that, they missed a line by a foot or two. When full daylight, they probably wouldn't have missed that, but they're throwing at night because it just looks bad.
What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
It's super tough. Like anybody who's played like an after work league, especially like this time of year, like late August or September, like sometimes people show up late and like the last 1 or 2 holes that you play, it's kind of dark. And like for me, like I bag from glow disc because I know it's kind of hard to see through the woods. And like if you throw like a dark purple putter when it's like dusk out, and especially in the woods, you're never going to find it anyway. But like for these pros to be throwing this dark out, I almost feel like it's kind of unfair because they, like you said, like you can't see the lines, you can't see maybe the iron leaf or the little skinny guy behind the big fat guy because it's so dusk out. I don't want to like blame problems or bitch about something without offering a solution. So I don't know really what would the solution be. Like, do we start earlier? Like, do we have masters go out at like 6 o'clock in the morning to like from everything to adjust and have that like hour buffer time sometimes? Or do we just say, hey, like, you only got 13 holes left and you're going to be judged on 13 holes. So then everybody's going to bitch that, well, I played 18 holes and this guy played 13 holes, so you can't judge that. Yeah. It's a really slippery scale or a slippery slope at that point.
Think my solution that came to mind when I've been thinking about this is, you're right, it's out of your control. When it's for your leagues, you expect some of that to happen. When it happened earlier this year, even like famously last year where we had this split with Ricky and Calvin joint winning that tournament because of the weather delays. Those things, you just kind of take your lumps with it. But I think my solution with it, when it becomes on a major level and it's having implications for this, like Paul McBeth's streak could be lost potentially because of the final like 4 or 5 holes, or not even 4 or 5, it was like 6 or 7 holes. And then coming up into the morning, having to finish those. Like, for me, the fix is, when does it stop being okay for these things to take place, right? Is it Elite Series? Is it Elite Plus? Is it Majors? And if so, then you draw the parameters around that. So like with Majors, I don't think we should have as many people as we have at Worlds. I understand everybody wants to be a part of it. Everybody wants to qualify, but this should be for the world's best, to where we have under 100 participants because they're the top 100 in the world that are competing on this major scale, not 200 plus people that are there because you're trying to, have 2 full pools, that you're trying to have this. You try to like make it more manageable. And granted, that's only like maybe one possible solution, but it's going to eliminate, especially in the tail end of the season. If we're going to have Worlds as we're encroaching fall, you have to prepare for fall weather. We're not going to have sun until 9 o'clock like we did in the middle of summer. So you make adjustments on that back end to allow that. Well, midsummer, we can have 200 people. So either we have Worlds back to where it was, and I know people complained about it last year, but either we have Worlds earlier on the season, or we make the cut and have a smaller pool so that if something like this has happened, you're able to make an adjustment. Those are some of the quick thoughts for me, but it's not an easy solution. And waking up at 7 o'clock, which means the pros had to wake up at probably 5:30, 6 o'clock to start getting warmed up.
Or even
and they weren't
4:30
warmed up
at that point.
time. Yeah. And how many pros are even used to waking up that early anymore? How many of them are sleeping in because they don't tee off until 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock?
Right.
Because it's also impacting the best, because the best of the pros are teeing off later, and so it's impacting the best of the field. And that's probably why also we have some of this battle brewing. And you have some of these youngsters that are coming in a big way and kind of smelling some of that. Here's our chance. Let's capitalize. You have the Cole Redall and your Barella that, have been so close all year. Cole winning one, obviously, but Barella being so close for the rest of it. I think they're smelling some of that blood where some of that top card was at a disadvantage, and this might be the chance for them to kind of fill that void.
It's funny you bring up that point, because we had kind of the same discussion last year with Maple Hill being a playoff series. So Maple Hill for us has always been the golden tournament. If you get into Pro Side Maple, you've made it. You are a 1,000 rated person. And 2 years ago, they made a playoff only thing. So you have to play so many events to register for Maple, which was a big bummer, because we used to have a AM only event, which would get you on the feature card. And then there would be qualifiers and stuff throughout New England to get you into Maple, which kind of shut that down. So a lot of that, when Maple came around, it was a bigger pool of New England locals who knew that course and touring people. But 2 years ago, it shrank down to people who just played 3 tour events or whatever the Steve Dodge drew up, whatever. And it really hurt our community, because we had a lot of talented 1,000 rated players. Great instance. One of my homeboys, one of my best mentors in disc golf, Kyle Wadworth Moriarty, who was on Chase card for Maple, was a local guy. He would never have the opportunity if he didn't go to Deglow. He didn't go to Ledstone. He didn't travel for these. But he's a local 1,000 rated player. Another instance, Paul Kranz. If you guys have not heard of Paul Kranz, look up this guy. This morning when I looked him up, he was sitting 11th in April. This kid is a stud. I'm talking 1030 stud, dude. He might be 5'3", weighs 120 pounds, which is, I don't know, 80 kilos to you guys. But this kid is a stud, dude. He is right. I believe he's number 2 behind Simon right now in Massachusetts, and he is giving the pros a absolute run for his money. Shout out 978, because we're both sponsored for that one.
But no,
yeah.
And that's where I think some of the conversation does take place and start to shift. Also, Cody gave you that weird look, because we don't just have Canada fans. We are based here in America. But I do like this. Bob Blunt wrote in, how about just as many qualified, but elimination start after round 1? I like that. That's a good solution as well, because you're making it go quicker and quicker.
I like the cut. I like the cut idea. At Maple Hill back in the day, it was a 4-day event. You had to make a cut to make the 4th day. If you want to go, 250 to 200 to 150 to 50,
80,
25,
60, 40, and then
send
top
it.
20.
We'll send it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, dude.
Because, just because you register for a tournament doesn't mean you're entitled to play all 5 days of the major, and making sure that, because that makes your first days, your first 2 days matter. Some of these first 2 days are you're just kind of all right, cool. I'll see once things are shuffled up, how it starts to look and where things start to fall. And then the tournament really begins tomorrow, with the final 3 days of the tournament.
I don't really like that whole reshuffle idea on day 3, to be honest.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, some of the solution, because this has some big implications. And don't get me wrong, I think a Chris Dickerson, who was a part of that, rebounded in a huge way. Antala rebounded in a huge way today. But also, Antala in the morning struggled with his putter. and then because he was on a hot streak last night, they break. He struggled with his putter, and then he rebounded in the afternoon. He could also have like probably a 4 or 5 stroke lead at this point if that he would have maintained his heat like throughout the night and finished strong, and not cancel. I mean, obviously it's semantics because that's not what happened, and we have to argue what really happened. But it's just an interesting dynamic that there needs to be a fix. There needs to be an adjustment. I know last week I talked about re-evaluating
controlling the weather and all that.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
the problem is like if it was an A tier or a silver series, there could be some room for adjustment, right?
Yeah.
But this is Pro World, so like this is the biggest field. This is the biggest platform of our sport this year. It's a 5-day tournament. Like this is the golden standard that we're putting stuff to. And we have things that are being talked about, and we have that gray area that can be adjusted. And when you are on this big of podium, when everybody's watching, and we have thousands of sponsors, and LL Bean is tossing, I don't know, 5 million or whatever they are, there can't be any discussion of rules or regulatories or gray areas. This has to be the absolute golden standard that everybody looks up to. This is when you are 12 years old and you have a Ferrari on your wall. This is what you dream about going to bed, right? You don't want a Ferrari with a dinged up bumper or something you're going to question about. Like you need absolute perfection for this.
Yeah, no, I agree completely, and I know also partially to blame is the bid system. I know we don't have enough bids coming in for like worlds to actually choose like solid locations. So I know that's a part of it too, right? Like
people are bitching about that. They're like, "Oh, why is it always in New England? Why is it always in Vermont? It's at Maple. It's always at these same courses." And I'll tell everybody the same way I'm telling you guys right now, because it's the same fucking people who are bidding on worlds.
Yep.
Do you want worlds at your home course? Put a bid in.
Yeah, they're even doing advertisements for
show
it
them
now, right?
The reason why you want not an A tier but a national tier. Show them you have 3 beautiful courses. Show them you have hotels. Show them you have restaurants. Show them you have culture and everything in your area to support thousands of people coming up for something like this. Like with Maine,
you have the clubs to support a worlds as well. That's the other thing, right? Like because you can meet all of those above, but if you don't have the volunteers, the people that are working back home to make it like beautiful and make all these things, then you're not gonna win that bid. And these places that do it continue to do it because people gravitate towards that and want it, and they have that support system in there. But yeah, put in a freaking bid so we can have some better locations. Otherwise, we're going to be struggling with the same things that it has been, which is, what we're battling right now.
The same courses every 5-6 years. And
yep.
So shout out to my homeboy, Alex Stone. He won the bid for Stoney. He won the bid this year for Master Worlds up in Flagstaff. And the month before it, I tried reaching out. And I'm like, hey, man, just, good luck and everything. And he was so stressed because he had everything under him, and he pulled it off, But you need to have that structure of people under you, the volunteers, the soccer moms to sell raffle tickets, the little girls to run around and with flags or whatnot and spotting, or even kids in the parking lot just telling people where to park, not like idiots. So we can get the extra 20 cars in that lot. You know what I mean? Like there's so much going on to these kind of events that people don't realize. And if you're a TD, no offense, you guys are not, but there is so much work going into an event that people just don't get.
Yeah,
that's all the pre-work and shit like that.
That's why there's legit organizations and jobs that are just event planning. And it's like, it might sound easy, but it's like, no, it's a full paying job, but now you do it on a volunteer basis and make sure that nothing falls through the cracks, which besides like one TD, I will always give the benefit of the doubt, but that one TD, fuck you. You know who you are if you're watching this, which I
don't know who you are either,
but
yeah, Alex,
put that little bit of extra effort in there. But with that, we are coming to our hour. Cody, you've been awfully quiet, so you can go ahead and kick us off with your closing thoughts, because clearly you either have none or you have a lot, and that's why you're quiet.
Well,
or took a gummy.
I also spend 7 hours every day talking to children all day, every day. So,
oh dear God, dude, thank you. You are a saint.
You're
words, doing the Lord's work.
My words are few and far in between these days, considering from 7 a.m. till 2:30 p.m. I put on a performance. So,
who was your favorite character in Bluey?
It's got to be the dad, dude. Gotta be. I mean,
Muffin.
It's not the mom. It's not the mom, really.
I mean, they're all wonderful people. I mean, okay, all right.
I'm just giving you shit.
I mean, you guys had a good rapport going, so I was just enjoying the conversation. So
no, it was good. I appreciate you guys having me on, and we had some good back and forth going.
Yeah, Josh still has no working internet.
4 weeks in a row.
Paige still likes to talk and tries to change the weather, which is impossible.
He's probably doing what I did 2 weeks ago.
Don't change it. Prepare for it.
Okay, Paige.
I mean,
but no, I think tonight was a good introspect on mental health. A lot of people don't realize that it is just humans playing this game, and it is a game. And especially with Eric Oakley, he owned up to it. There was accountability had, which I, as again someone who works with small people and trying to make decent humans, that's an important part of it. So I really like. It's okay to make mistakes, but you just need to make sure you apologize and try and own those mistakes. Yeah, you own up to them, because one way or another, we're all going to have those. So I actually sit there while we were talking about it. I looked up his apology, and I thought it was really, really well written and well said. And it's a thing people don't think about when they're out there on the course for their weekly rounds and stuff like that. There are people that are supporting families and doing this as a job.
Yeah.
All right. Lerch, what are some of your closing thoughts?
I mean, we already touched on mental health. So just to nail that home, if you're going through some tough times, just let it be known that you are not alone. Everybody goes through this shit. If you're going through a tough time, reach out to somebody. Reach out to a friend, reach out to parents, reach out to a brother or sister. Everybody goes through bad days, and sometimes people go to therapy. Some people talk to people. Some people go out to their friends and go to the bar and get blasted. Some people call their friends and go out to the course and throw 18. Everybody does therapy different. Everybody deals with emotions and situations different. So I don't want to put anybody inside a bubble or say you need to do this to get better. But, you cannot enjoy the sun without rain. And sometimes shit sucks. But I promise you it does get better. And, you're not alone. So just, if you need to reach out to somebody, please do. And I'd rather see you on the course and see you at a funeral. So. Yeah. Be good to yourself and be good to your friends. And if someone's going through a hard time, please reach out to them.
Hey, yeah. Cal Ripken, the Iron Man of baseball, said he tried to cry at least once a day. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, life is shit. Just make sure you wipe. So
I like how we're all being responsible,
good. And then Paige just does that. Yeah.
Gosh.
All right, guys. Moving to my closing thoughts. It was a great podcast with us tonight. I know we went a little bit long, but that's because a lot of the conversations are important. World is here. Make sure you're watching it live, because it seems like it's gearing up to be a great one. Some of those storylines, can Cole pull it out? Can Antela be one of the first Europeans to win, if not the first European to win the World Championship? Can Barella finally break through in a big way? There's a lot of storylines that are unfolding. Make sure you're tuning in. We got 3 days of amazing things. But I am here if you guys want to reach out to anybody. Obviously, I can jump on Zoom. We can talk face-to-face. I got a phone. I got Facebook Messenger, whatever you're comfortable with. So make sure that you're reaching out to people that if you're struggling with some of that mental health aspect, and also being kind to yourself and forgiving yourself, because I think we hold as individuals ourselves to an impossible standard that if people we held everybody to that standard, the world would crumble. So be as forgiving on yourself as you are to others out there, because like we said, we're humans and watching how that unfolds. So with that, I do want to thank our sponsor. You can see Rare Air Discs down below me. They offer 10% if you use code Jammers in the Rough on their website. They're a huge sponsor of our show. So if you're looking to get some TSA discs, they also do custom artwork on TSA discs. So if you're looking for some cool TSA, go check them out. So with that, thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week. So keep jamming it in the rough. And I had that wrong and backwards, but that's fine. We are out. Had we